Hello, Butler 1199. My name is Dan. I'm the delegate from BH Call Intake, and I have just gotten back from bargaining session this April 2nd. And man, do I have a lot to get into. So first, let me just say this is not an official communication from 1199. This is a commentary video, my thoughts and opinions about how today's bargaining session went. Is also, and you can all say it with me, not a replacement for talking to your delegate. So please go talk to your delegate. You should have questions. There's a lot that's going to be going on, especially going forward. Please stay in touch with your delegate. So let's get into today because man. So today's bargaining session is scheduled to be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Um, those are the hours that's the only hours they can meet for some reason, not like, something more convenient for everyone, like within first shift or whatever. But you know, they need their beauty sleep, so we accommodate. But they showed up, but they need a little extra beauty sleep today because they didn't show up till about 11:15. Um, which was a little irksome, but I mean, it's not like they would get mad at us for showing up late. Uh, Regardless, we got down to business and they gave us some of their proposals. We also gave them some of ours, some just adjustments on our part. Nothing really big to go over, but I'm just fixing up some of our positions. Uh, and so they gave us a few. Um, So the first thing they came out swinging with is they wanted to add Juneteenth, which they added as an extra holiday last in this during the life of this last contract. Um, but they want to remove the floating holiday, which we said no. We It's an extra holiday. The federal government's added it as a holiday. It's just an extra holiday, and you need to give it to us. Um, They also wanted to put the tuition reimbursement language into um, into the contract. Um, this was an opportunity for us to try and broach the subject on a pretty big problem that has happened over the last 4 years, which was they were reimbursing themselves using money allocated for the training fund, um, to pay tuition reimbursement, which should have been coming out of their money and not like our joint money. And we had an arbitration about such, which which was settled, but they do not. They are now maintaining the position that they, in a very vague sense, that they would like to continue to reimburse themselves with money that they shouldn't be using to reimburse themselves. Um, it 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 continues the pattern that we propose things based on like real problems, and then they don't acknowledge that it's a problem, um, and it just sort of continues to spin in circles. So they made some pretty obvious movement on the secretary scheduling proposal. It's a no-brainer. Most of the stuff, they had gone through a lot of the stuff before negotiations, from what I understand. But it's coming together for the secretaries. So good job, secretaries. Let's make sure it goes well even after implementation. Um, They've also just wanted to formally reject a proposal we had about filing vacations 28 days ahead of time instead of at the first of the month. The reason we propose that is because what will happen is, so like if you wanted to uh, take a vacation day at the end of May, you'd have to get it in by April 1st, right? It'd be 2 months away. So we wanted to adjust that so it's within like a month time. It'd be more realistic. They denied it. They said it would be too much work for scheduling. The scheduling person disagreed, but they only do the job. So So then they took lunch. It was around 12 or so. We agreed to come back in an hour. Uh, and they didn't get back till 3:45, um, which meant that we actually ended up staying till 4:30 today. About which not really an issue for us. We can do anything. We're you know not like lazy. So, but it was certainly uh, insulting. Which goes before I get into the economic proposals, because that's what they kept for after lunch was economic proposals. Something I want to address is their temperament today. It was very clear they were very provocative today. They even actually called they very subtly called the 1199 training fund a slush fund for the union. Um, they did it in a much more polite and subtle way, but they were being very provocative today, and I think the purpose of that was to try and get us to walk out, but we didn't because we're disciplined. We're psych care workers. I mean, we deal with a lot more insulting stuff than whatever their high paid lawyer can throw at us. I think it's been really bothering them that they've walked out 3 times and we haven't walked out at all. Um, but when they came back, they really tried again to get us walk out, but this time with just insulting proposals. So let's get into their economic proposals. They started off by saying that they would like to kick off some older employees who are on like an older life insurance plan. I don't know a lot personally about this, but it seems to be like a sort of grandfathered in benefit from a long time ago. They just want to kick those people off. They don't care. Um, uh, they wanted to adjust some of the structured language for health insurance for the standard health insurance plan. So we actually have in the contract how much you pay for what for that health insurance plan, and that is to make sure that they can't just adjust that without having to bargain for it, without having to come to us. So they just want to pull that out so that way they can, so that way they can just mess with that whenever they want, which is obvious. Just they wanted to lower their contribution to the HSA front load. They want to say they say they only want to front load 50% of the HSA. Um, they're increasing some smaller premiums. Um, they are removing the dental high plan. So there's the standard, the high, and then the premium. Um, so they want to remove that middle one, the high plan. Just no, don't care. They called it streamlining. I believe the words they used was streamlining. Um, they want to remove all of the opt-out payments. So if you don't take like certain like benefits, you get a little bit of money like back. They just want to. They're not going to offer that. Um, they don't want to enroll new employees after the ratification of this contract into the pension. Uh, they just they say that they would like to align with the market by not offering a pension anymore. Um, they fully rejected our wage proposal. So, surprise, surprise. What did they offer instead? So, they offered an immediate 2% increase. Then, for on scale, it'll be 1%, 1%, then 2%. And for off scale, it would be the same immediate 2%, and then 2%, 2%, 4%. I don't know. I don't know what else what I would need to elaborate on that. That is um, insulting numbers, to say the least. That is, I mean, uh, the bargaining committee. As I said, people were just like packing up. This is an unserious proposal. Um, they considered our wage proposal to be ludicrous. I believe they said the word ludicrous. I could be wrong, but um, they saw that it would really bring people. They saw that our proposal would really bring people to a an actually reasonable place, because they don't, right. They don't look backwards. They don't see that for the last 4 years, the market absolutely dumpstered um, our employees, right? They just see like, oh wow, they're asking for really big raises. We can't allow that, right? They don't see this as catching up, which is what it is, which is what we're asking for, is to catch up and improve. But they just see this all as just one big raise, and it's not. It's a lot of catch up, and then some decent improvements. Um, but they don't you know they don't live in the same reality as us. And this is something that I see, from a lot, especially a lot of the clinical delegates, is, I feel like as psych workers, we often spend a lot of time trying to like anchor delusional patients, right? Try and get them to cohere to reality a bit more, and to step out of their delusions. And I see it amongst, my the more clinical delegates, where they keep trying to present to management like, but this is the reality of the situation, right? You need to understand these are real issues. But they don't understand what my fellow delegates might not quite understand is they're not delusional. They live in a different reality, right? They aren't worried about rent or housing or transportation. They're not worried about paying tuition. They're not worried about their kids, like daycare. They're not worried about any of that stuff. That stuff is taken care of. They live in a different reality, and that's why it is up to us to force them to reckon with our reality. And they are making it very clear that they don't want to do that. They don't want to really understand what you go through on a daily basis. They don't want to provide for a better reality, um, because they're all right. And so we need to be ready. We need to be ready to act. We need to be ready to show up. I mean, after hearing those numbers, you should be ready to, you know, take it to them. Um, because you know, a week ago, I was saying that I really hoped that they would come to this session with, something substantial. Um, and they somehow not only didn't show up with something substantial, they have even flown backwards out the door down the street, and down a waterfall. This is outrageous. This is outrageous behavior. This is outrageous proposals. Uh, at no point have they really bargained in good faith. Um, they sneer at us. They chide us constantly, um, and it's enough is enough. So make sure to show up to vote on Friday for the picket, and get ready for things to continue to escalate, because they would need to very, very seriously reconsider their priorities to change the trajectory of how things are going. You know, we are reasonable people, we are professionals, but they talk about us, you, like children. They view us as children. They are treating us like children. They walk in, uh, believing that we are petulant, and I don't. You can't stand for this behavior. Um, so we're going to take it to them like adults, because that's what we are. And I believe in absolutely all of you. I mean, I walk around and you guys are ready to tear the hospital down and rebuild the whole place. Um, and that's what we need. So please keep it up, you know, keep showing up to things, be out there on the picket line, and should it come to a strike, be ready to do so. Um, you guys are the best. Nothing can stop you. And let's stay strong, Butler.